All right, Buffalo Bills. They won 13 games a year ago. 12.5 is their Vegas projection, but a lot of people go in the under. It's plus 120 if you want to go over that 12.5 number. And well, Kyle and I are going under it. JP, this is your highest win projection total. You went 14 for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, part of it is playing in the AFC East, where I think they're going to run over that division once again. But this team is built so well, and they have built a formula around winning football through the offensive line, through that run game, through Josh Allen being incredibly good at throwing the football. And then you're getting another year of Keon Coleman. You're hoping that he can at least win in contested catch areas and kind of elevating that receiver room on the outside, just giving them somebody who, if it's 3rd and 4 and you need a first down, you can throw that fade route to Keon Coleman. You can throw that slant route to Keon Coleman. That's sort of what he did at Florida State. And I think the defense, while I still have questions about how they're built philosophically, I think they are still kind of in the, if we can only stop the run with 6 people and we'll sling Taron Johnson into the box as a run fit. I still don't think they're built to win like that with having undersized defensive tackles. But if they can get to 3rd down, if they can continue to win in the turnover margin, they should blow that win projection out the water.
Yeah, I don't care if the sky is falling around Josh Allen and everybody in the roster gets the flu. They're going to get 10 wins. And you talked about that offensive line, and I'll talk about them till I'm blue in the face. But it helps having a superhuman on 4th down, on short yardage with Josh Allen. It helps a lot every down when you've got a group that's going to impose their will, and that's what the Buffalo Bills have. They also have the benefit of playing in that cold weather stadium outside. Later on in the season, teams don't want to go to Buffalo to play. Quite frankly, it's like Halloween. Don't send me to Buffalo anytime after that. I think they have a tough team. I love what their head coach has done with their program, and obviously it's all because of Josh Allen there at the quarterback position.
I think the one reason I went under, and I'm going to disagree with you here, JP, is I think they drop a game to the Jets this year. Because you said it, they're trying to stop the run with 6. They have this light box. It's one of the lightest in the NFL. The Jets, that's what they are built to eat up right now. They are built to go to town on those 6-man fronts, those 280-pound DTs. They constructed this offense to demolish just that. And maybe can't beat a lot of other teams in the NFL, but I think that is what they can beat with that new look offensive line, with Justin Fields at quarterback, and with someone like Braylon Allen, who's 240 pounds at running back. So I think they drop a game to the Jets. I think the Patriots are on the come up. I just think there are some L's in that division that they will take, and I worry about injuries striking this team, specifically along the offensive line or in the secondary. Those happen. They're just thin. It's thin. The front, starting 22, elite. Top 5 in the NFL, no doubt about it. After that, they do not have the depth that some of these other contenders have. So I went 11, just in case, just hedging there. But yeah, I think just on paper, it should be a 13-plus win team, should they stay healthy. All right, Miami Dolphins, 8 wins the season to go. 7.5 is their over-under. Minus 110 is where that number is, but we all say under 7.5, JP.
The Dolphins are the most hypothetical team in the NFL, where they could be good if so many things have to work out for this team to be good. If Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle can remain healthy, if the offensive line remains healthy, and you get Jonas Vainea and Patrick Paul playing really well, if you can get healthy years from Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, if you can get somebody in the secondary room to play well outside of Minkah Fitzpatrick. There's so many what ifs for this team that it makes it hard to believe in them. But I also just think they're going to get a few games just off of there's going to be a game where that offense goes supernova. There's going to be a game where everything works right and it looks awesome. And we're just hey, they might have found the juice again, but they're still one of the worst short yardage teams in the NFL. And when you get to those games late in the season where you need to win within those margins, I just don't know if they can do it.
The thing that I love about this team is their quarterback. Tua is tailor-made to run this Mike McDaniel offense. And when it's right, when they've got the running backs on the field, when they've got receivers bought in and present in mind, this offense is as electric as we've seen. It's a track meet. It's like when I went to Oregon and we used to practice next to the Oregon track team, and I'd say those guys are just different. Those gals over there are just faster than all of us. D'Anthony, you think you're fast, but that guy's got a gold medal around his neck. That's what it's like playing the Dolphins when they're right. And I went and watched them in the joint practice, and Darren Waller's on the sideline. Teron Armstead is working with Patrick Paul in kind of a developmental role, and then you get Tyreek Hill. He's on the sideline. If Teron Armstead's out of the league, but if he's in the league, this is a different conversation. Patrick Paul might be able to play somewhere else on that line. Darren Waller is in the lineup, and if he's Darren Waller, then we're talking about maybe 8 wins if it's the guy that we remember. But there's so many hypotheticals, to your point, JP. There's so many things that weigh in the balance. We don't know what it's going to be in Miami. We don't know if that defense can stay healthy. We don't know if Tua is going to be on the field week in, week out, because unfortunately history has dictated to us that a stiff breeze, an inadvertent hit to Tua can send him down the wrong path. And it's funny. It's not funny, but that's being a Dolphins fan right now. It all hangs in the balance.
Yeah. I'm sorry for laughing. No, I'm not. It just is unfortunate. It just is for the Miami Dolphins that is such a big worry. And that's why I'm going to the under here. It's just that, like you said, history shows that Tua going 17 games is an anomaly, unfortunately. And Zach Wilson going to win you games. Quinn Ewers going to win you games. They have not. They look like, Mike.
Not if Austin Booker's on the field. Sack.
But, and then the other part of it is just their secondary is awful. It's awful. There's no sugarcoating. It's awful. So they are going to be, there's a handful of teams this year that are just going to, every weekend's going to be an awesome game to watch. They're one of them because, the total points scored in Dolphins games this year is probably going to be the highest in the NFL. Bengals are one of them. Jaguars are one of them, where it's just like the incongruity between elite offense potential and just god-awful defense. It's going to make for some interesting games, but I just cannot see the Dolphins. Again, with my opinion that the Jets and the Patriots are on a somewhat of a come-up, I see them actually. I had them with a fewest amount of wins in that division with 5. So let's get to the Jets, who they themselves won 5 games a year ago. 6.5 is their over/under. It's at plus 120. I think people are saying, "Hey, this is still the Jets. We're gonna for them to win 7 games. We're gonna actually have to have a little have to see it before we believe it here." But I'm believing it. I'm going 7. Kyle's going 7. JP, you're of the former category. You're going 5 here.
Yeah, I'm going 5 here, largely because I think that this team is going to be good in 2026. I think this year is just for finding out who is going to be on this roster. Who is going to be a part of this Aaron Glenn era. But one of my favorite quirky stats or predictions for the year is the Jets are going to lead the NFL in rushing attempts because they are going to run the football really well. They have an offensive line built to run the ball. They have 2 good running backs, and they have a quarterback who can obviously be a factor with his legs. I still have yet to see what he's going to do with his arm, but you have talent with Garrett Wilson. You have a talented in-between game receiver with Allen Lazard, but everything else, a lot of questions. I think Mason Taylor is going to play a big role in this offense. And the defense, just if you can win games, like Kyle said, with baseball scores, if you can turn every game into being like an infighter in boxing and you're just going slugfest, you're going to be able to steal a few. But I just worry about the quarterback limiting the ceiling for this version of the Jets.
I just think about all of the fantastic plays I watched Justin Fields make at Soldier Field. And all these times they're going to go forgotten because of the new regime at quarterback. Well, he gets an opportunity to go to Pittsburgh. Obviously, things don't shake out exactly how he'd like. But now he gets to go to the biggest city, the biggest media market in the National Football League in what I think is a massive year, obviously, for him. And for Aaron Glenn, it's the culture. It's what kind of defense are we going to put out there? What kind of defense Aaron Glenn is going to have. But to Mike's point, the investment in the offensive line, when Aaron came to New York, they brought in a bunch of old heads, vets, to play offensive line because they were names that somebody's son recognized on Madden. they went and drafted some bad boys the last couple of years, and they are going to run the hell out of the football, which is why I love JP's over on the rush attempts. And to be honest, that's how you win football games. You beat the hell out of people. And they've got young men who are going to be run blocking all season. And that's how you use young men, because the old guys, they don't want to bang their head 50 times a game. You tell some of those young guys, you don't have to pass protect. We're just going to run it. And I'm like, yes, coach. Yes, coach, please. That's how we're going to win.
Yeah, I've said this before, but I like the Jets this season. They're just one of the more intriguing teams to me, just to see how their season ends up, because they are decidedly zagging when the rest of the NFL is zigging. They're saying, everyone wants to defend with 220-pound linebackers. Well, we're going to have a quarterback and a running back that are heavier than your linebackers, and good luck stopping them. And I love the rushing attempts thing, because not only should it just be like rushing attempts are, this is a 55-45 rush to pass sort of play calling. But then every year, 15% of Justin Fields dropbacks end up as rushing attempts anyway. So it's like, this is a team that's just built to move the ball on the ground. I think they can play complementary football, because the defense, it was, prior to whatever the hell happened last year. And I know they lost DJ Reed, and it's not quite the same unit, but it was a top 5 defense each of the 2 years prior with Robert Saleh. And I think Aaron Glenn, what he does best, fits what this secondary does best, and I think it can work. I don't think it can work to go quick, but I think it can work to win at least a few games there this season. So, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Where's my sheet? Oh no, where's my?
Okay, so
all right, no, I got it next. All right, here we go. New England Patriots, 2024. They won 4 games. Over under 8.5.
This is awesome.
At plus 100. I'm going with 10. Kyle's going with 9. JP, as you said off the top when you mentioned the Bills, you're not buying any of the overs for the rest of the AFC East here. You're going under 7.
The main reason I'm going under, again, I'm emotionally hedging for this team to be bad, but a competitive bad, because I still have some questions about the sustainability of the secondary with the safeties. I wonder if Kyle Duggar is going to be on this team come the regular season, but the offense should be really, really fun. I think, again, kind of with what we mentioned with the Jets zagging where everyone else is zigging, I think the Patriots are sort of doing something similar with Josh McDaniels. They're bringing back the physicality and the gap scheme of old New England Patriots football. And that sounds awesome. I think with what you saw with what Will Campbell did in his first preseason game, where he was taking, I believe it was Noah Igbinoghene. He had a rough game, but Will Campbell was taking Igbinoghene to Boston. Literally, he was taking him to the Boston airport on every toss play. And I think that physicality, that mentality, that is going to mean something for this team. They know how they want to win. They're going to be aggressive up front. They're going to be physical on both sides of the line. I think if they can really get something from their receiver core, they can get Stephon Diggs back healthy from the ACL injury. If Kyle Williams can be the guy that everybody thinks we can be, then they could probably go over. But I'm sort of hedging on, it's going to be tough for Diggs to come back off that injury. It's going to be tough for a rookie receiver to immediately come in and be a great receiver in the NFL. It's going to be tough for the Patriots this year, but I could see them going well over.
Okay, I'm going to take you, since we're talking a little patriotism, I'm going to take you guys in the history machine, all right? And Mike's been here before with me. I think Mike enjoys these now. He doesn't think I'm totally insane. So in the 19th century, there lived a young man named Theodore Roosevelt. This was around the time of the Spanish-American War. Okay, it was following the explosion of the USS Maine in Havana Harbor, which led to conflict. Teddy Roosevelt wanted to fix this problem, and he said, I can go find you some men to fix this problem. And they said, all right, Teddy, but you're not going to use our men. You have to go find your own. And I'll take a brief pause and just let you understand and remember that last year's Patriot team was so talent poor that there was a large contingency of people that were not willing to put their draft pick out there on the field. I was part of that camp at the beginning, and then I watched him at the end. Drake May is Teddy Roosevelt. Well, Drake May and Mike Vrabel are Teddy Roosevelt in this one, because they bring Teddy Roosevelt, Mike Vrabel in, and they say, go get your own guys. and he goes around the league and he finds some of the baddest men that he could find. Now, Teddy Roosevelt did the same thing back in the day. He went to Native American reservations. He went to football colleges. He went to, steel plants, and he found the toughest, most hardened people that he could. And more importantly, he found guys that could ride horses. Mike Vrabel has a bunch of guys that can ride horses now. And he's got a bunch of guys that are going to carry that flag for the New England Patriots. And now we're talking about a team that is potentially going to be eking out maybe 10 wins this year in a dream state. It's going to be a lot of fun. America's eyes will be on the New England Patriots. For whatever reason, Drake May has the juice. People really love Drake May, myself included. He's aw shucks. He's bigger than he's supposed to be. He can run. He's got everything, the total package. So for this team, they're on the up and up. Mike Vrabel, Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Riders, the New England Patriots.
They definitely brought in some Rough Riders, though. That's why I'm going 10 wins, is that you could almost just throw out what this team was last year and just because it's not the same team. There's over half the stars are new. Your quarterbacks from year 1 to year 2 make this big leap. You have a new coaching staff. And the guys they brought in, whether it's Carlton Davis, whether it's Robert Spillane, whether it's Milton Williams, whether it's Will Campbell, whether it's Travion Henderson, Matt Collins, those are tone setter players. They play a brand of football that matches their head coach that ain't going to look like what it looked like last year. So for all those reasons, and they have, on paper, it's like a bottom 5 easiest schedule in the NFL. I don't think it's just from looking at it. Like some of the teams they're playing are better than they were a year ago, but it's still not a hard schedule. It's not what if you're in the NFC North or you're in the NFC East this year. It's nothing like what those guys are facing. So for all those reasons, give me the over 10 wins for this New England Patriots team.